All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott, formerly of Rankin Technical College, and as part of my YouTube channel, JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, and in particular the playlist Jeff Teaches Programming-Python. So far I've been going over the Python programming language, and usually with just about every one of these videos I've been reviewing what we've gone over. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on that today. We're in the middle of talking about databases. This is what I have done. All right, just so I want you to be aware of this. All right, I'm going to show you. So here's the course. When I call it the course, these are the lectures that I've done. These are my source files. Now we're in databases. We went over a demo on an employee database. Then I went over this sales order thing. We're going to have 4 versions of this. In fact, we're probably going to have 5 versions, but let's talk about that at another time. In version 1, I went in and basically created the database, filled up the records, etc. So that was about it. So in version 2, where we are right now, what I've done is I've got 3 different worksheets that I've created and written answers to. So we're going to go over these right now. This will be the worksheet number 1. Then we'll go into worksheet number 2. And finally, we'll go into worksheet number 3. And you'll notice if you look at these, the first one has got 19 different queries in it. The first 8 are basically the same query, but we're running it against different tables. So really, it's got the equivalent of about 12 queries in it. So I'm going to go over these right now. All right, and I'm going to show you some different things that are in here. These, I might even have to rewrite this. This might be a little bit out of whack, so to speak. All right. Then, like I said, we'll go over worksheet 2 and we'll go over worksheet 3. So for worksheet 1, which, like I said, we're going to start with right now, let's open that up and we'll open it up in code. Now, what I'm going to do, you'll notice I've got in here 19 queries. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the queries. All right. And I'm going to run the queries so you can see what's going on. Now, these queries that are in here, basically, these first 8 are virtually the same query. But what we're doing is select count from categories. This says, tell me the number of records that are in the categories table. All right. And, I'm just going to be printing that out. Now, what I want to show you, though, is this file here that's kind of the one that's got main in it. It's called queryset01.py. All right. I'm going to take these, everything other than the first 8 that are in here, and I'm going to comment them out. All right. And I'm commenting them out, which is going to result in some errors down here, but that's okay. And what I'll do is I will uncomment them as we go through them. All right. And if that confused you, please just bear with me a little bit here. What I tried to do in here, and again, I'm providing all this stuff. It'll all be out on my GitHub repository. Okay. So now I should have no errors in here once I comment out that one. So what we're going to have in here is we're going to run a thing to show us the number of records we have in the categories table, followed by the number of records we have in the customers table, followed by the number of records we have in the employees table, followed by the number of records in the order details table. I think I did them in alphabetic order, followed by the number in the orders table, followed by the number in the products table, followed by the number in the product vendors table, and followed by the vendors table count. All right. These are all, again, virtually the same query. So this is Q1, and the only thing that changes in Q2 here is the name here and the table that I'm doing the count of. All right. So let me save this and let me run it. And it's telling you, in the employees table, we have 8 employees. We have 3,975 order details records. We have 944 order records. We have 40 products. We have 90 product vendors. And we have 10 vendors. That's what the first set here has told us. All right? And I don't expect this to totally make sense, but I just do want you to know on here that if we look, and I'll just go back to number 1 here, it's a very simple query. All right? So we're calling this from our main function, and it's called categories record count. So we run the query where the number of category records is this. I changed the name on all these. They had really big, long names. I just changed them to Q1, Q2, etc. All right, so there's the query. Here we execute it. And it's fetch 1 because basically all it's doing is returning 1 value. All right, we don't need a fetch all. There's only 1 thing being returned. Okay, so let me go back to here. In fact, let me bring that back up again. Don't know what I did there. There we go. So that's numbers 1 through 8. So let's look at number 9, and let me bring up this again. We'll need that, and we'll need number 9 up. All right, I need them both up. There we go. All right, so going back to here, those were the first 8. All right, now we want to do a query, and we want to find all those employees whose first name starts with a vowel. Now, it's a very contrived query, but the idea is it's going to let you see some of the different stuff that you can do with this. Now, I want to grab this just so I've got it in mind here. And query 9, write a query to select all customers whose first name begins with a vowel, uppercase or lowercase. It doesn't matter. So what are we doing? We're again, it's called vowel bad way. Why am I calling it vowel bad way? Because I want to show you a better way of doing it in just a minute. Okay? All right. And if you look in here, we've got 1 query. Okay? This is the query right here. And it says, if the first name begins with a lowercase or uppercase a followed by anything, or a lowercase or uppercase e followed by anything, or a lowercase or uppercase I followed by anything, or a lowercase or uppercase o followed by anything, or a lowercase or uppercase u followed by anything, we want to select them. So it's all the employees whose first names start with a vowel. Okay, remember, we have 8 employees. We ran that just a little bit ago. All right, and someplace in here, I don't know where, but someplace in here, let's see, file, let's do an open right here, and let's grab employees. I just want you to see this. So what do we have here? Well, we should find, there's Ann, so we should find her. There's 1. Mary, no. Matt, no. Carol, no. Kirk, no. David, no. Catherine, no. All right, Susan, no. As far as I can tell right here, the only one that appears to start with a vowel is Ann Peterson. Well, let's see if we run this, if that's what I get. All right, so let's go back to here. Let's comment these out. I've run these for you already, so I'm not going to run them again. What I will do eventually when I get done with this is I will uncomment everything that I've commented out in here. All right, so now we're going to run number 9. This is, like I said, it's doing it the quote bad way, unquote. All right, so now I need to uncomment number 9. Okay, I can comment all these out as well. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, but I can do that. There. All right, so now we're up to number 9. That's the only query that should run right now. So we come back to here, we run this, and it says, okay, those employees whose first name starts with a vowel. Well, let's see, we've got different people in here than the people I had. Let's see why. Well, it's pretty obvious. I've got different people in here than the people who are shown right there. All right, so these aren't the ones that I use. So we're going to go back and we're going to do this because I want to show you what I'm doing. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to where I put the records in. So that was in source files, Python DB, sales orders, version 1. So somewhere in here, we need the insert employee records. There it is. So these are the ones that we put in. But it still looks like, and looks like the only one. So let me check one more thing. Open. Now this was employee records. All right. So file, open. I'm wondering if I screwed up and maybe used customers, which is, knowing me, anything's possible. Andrew Concini, etc. So these are customers. All right. What does that mean? That means that these were customers whose first names started with that. All right. Why does that matter? Well, in here, I said employees. That should say customers. So should this. So should this. So should this, etc. All right, so it looks like the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 queries should all be with customers, but we're going to find out. So again, if you look in here, now that I've kind of got it the right way, so to speak, well, what do we have? We've got Andrew, Angel, Elena, there's 3. Estella, that's 4. So there's 4 people. And what actually got returned when we ran the query? Andrew, Elena, Angel, and Estella. I have them printed out both using just a fetch all, and then I formatted it so you could read it a little bit easier. All right. Now, what I said on there was that was the, quote, bad way of doing it. What the heck does that even mean? Let's talk about it right now. Let me clear this. All right, let's see. Now we will comment this out. All right, and I'm going to bring out number 10. And what is number 10? Okay, well, again, we have to keep commenting stuff out. I can keep running it, but there's so many records that eventually print that it gets too confusing. So this is called vowel good way 1. So let's look at that one. Well, notice what we did. We cut this down so that rather than checking 10 things, we're only checking 5. I said to take the first name and uppercase everything in it, then check for an A or an E or an I or an O or a U followed by anything. All right, so it's a little bit less as far as what you're checking. Now, what should happen in here is we should get the same results. So we're back in here. We're now running Q10, this one. So let me do a file, save all, and let me run it and see if we get the same exact 4 records that we got before. All right. There we go. So again, Andrew, Elena, Angel, and Estella. Okay? All right, so there are those. And I'm just going to keep doing this. All right, so let me clear this again. All right, I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to uncomment this one. All right, and do the same thing in here that we just did. In other words, all right, there. Okay, so now the next one for us to do would be Q11, right there. Not sure exactly. I'm trying to figure out right now why. There we go. So Q11. 9 is, so everything other than that one. So it's called Vowel Bad Way 2. So let's look at that one. Now we're doing the last name. It's the same query. I want you to realize too, it ends with something. Previously, when we did the other one, it started with a letter and then ended with anything. The wildcard character is the %sign. So now we're checking that this ends with an A, E, I, O, or U. And we're checking all of them. That's what makes it the quote bad way. So let's save all. And again, before we run this, let's take a look. All right. So these are our records. Who do we have in here in these customers whose last name ends with a vowel? No, 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 yes. So Dean McCrae, Maria Sergienko, that's 2. Andrew Cancini is 3. Kirk DeGrasse is 4. Now, I could have missed one, but let's just see. So again, file, we'll save, we'll go back to here, and we will run this. Let me close number 10, and we'll run this. Again, let's close that so we got a little more room. Again, Andrew, Kirk, Dean, and Mariah. All right, the order's a little different because we put in here, when we ran this, we did an order by, I believe, on the end. We ordered it by last name. So they'd be in ascending order based on last name. Cancini comes before DeGrasse. Why DeGrasse is in there twice, I would have absolutely no idea. Let's clear this, and let's run it again. There it is, and it's only got it in there once. I don't know what happened. So that was number 11. Now, then we went back and again rewrote this, so to speak, kind of the same way, but for the last one, last name. So again, number 12. We did the lower this time, just to show you, you can check for uppercase or lowercase. So this is anything ending in an A, anything ending in an E, anything ending in an I, anything ending in an O, or anything ending in a U. These are all ORs. It can be any one of those. When you're doing multiple things you're checking, and any one can be true, you use ORs. If you want only one to be true, you use ANDs. Okay? So this is called Vowel Good Way 2. Let's go back. Again, we'll comment this out. We'll uncomment out number 12 here. All right, and uncomment it up here. All right, comment this one back out again. All right, oops, wanted it there. Not there. There we go. All right. So this should only run number 12. So we should get the same results we got previously. In other words, those 4 people. And there they are. Again, when I move this, I get a little more room. And you can see, same people. 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Sorry, that's why I've been a little bit behind here. I'm suffering from a cold here. All right, so let's comment these out. And we're going to do number 13 next. All right, and number 13, as we comment this one out, and again, notice when we do these, they all have comments. Show query to show all employees whose first name starts with a vowel and whose last name ends with a vowel. What the heck does that mean? Well, to be honest with you, there's only one. And if we look at the data, the only one that starts with a vowel and ends with a vowel is Andrew Kensini. All right. When we looked at the other ones whose first name started with a vowel, well, there was Angel, but it ends with a Y, and we're only accepting for vowels A, E, I, O, and U. There's Elena, but ends with a K. There's Estella, but it ends with a T. So the only name that should be returned here is Andrew Kensini, if we did this query correctly. And if you look, well, didn't like, oh, I think I don't think I put my, I uncommented it, did I? Nope, I did not. There it is. So let me run that. So that's 12. Whose last name ends with a vowel? Oh, it's 13. So let me comment that out and uncomment this one. Show query to show all employees whose first name starts with a vowel and whose last name ends with a vowel. I called it vowel and. And again, if we run this, what do we get? There he is, Andrew Kensini. All right. So we're going to do one more of these in just a second, and that'll be number 13. I think that's the last one. But that one will have an or. So either one of these. With an and, these must both be true. The first name must start with a vowel. The last name must end with a vowel. With an or, this can be true, this can be true, or they both can be true. All right, so let's uncomment that one. Let's recomment this one. All right, so this again is number 14. If we look at it here and we bring up number 14, notice, okay, that's an, these are all ors now, where previously they were ands. But we have two different things we're checking in here. We're checking this, which is all of the uppercase first names A, E, I, O, or U, and we've got this, which is all the last names with an A, E, I, O, or U. I know that the first names were put in, and the first letter was an A. I know last names, only the first letter of the last name is capitalized. So I used upper and I used lower. All right. Hopefully I've got everything. So it's 14. Okay, so File, Save All. Let's run it again and see what we have. All right. So Andrew, well, he's both. DeGrasse ends with a vowel. Elena starts with a vowel. Angel starts with a vowel. McCrae ends with a vowel. Estella starts with a vowel. And Mariah ends with a vowel. So far, so good. Everything, it appears at least, is working. All right, so that's the first 14 in here. So let's continue on. So the next one, as you guess, would be number 15. All right. So number 15, now we're moving away from what we just looked at. It says show a query to show all of the category descriptions, product names, and retail prices. Just those 3 fields. Now, with that said, it's a more complex query, and it is a more complex query because that information is contained in 2 different tables. The category description is in the products table. The product name and product price, the category description is in the categories table. I think that's what I said. The product name and product price are both in the products table. All right, do I still have that up here? No, I don't. Got a coupon for my wife, though. All right, let's see. There we go. So when we look here, we want 1 field from the categories table and 2 from the products table. Notice they have a field in common. Category ID is in both. It's the primary key in the categories table, and it's a foreign key in the products table. All right, so if we bring that one up, again, we're joining on what I just told you. Right there. That's grabbing information from 2 different tables. All right, so if we come in, and again, let's do a file save all in here. All right, and we've undone 15 there, and we've undone 15 here, so we should be good to go. Now this has got a lot more output. All right, and notice in here, I only put it in like in a formatted way, so it looked a little nicer. So it's got from the categories table, the category type, from the products table, the product name and the product price. So we have combined information from 2 different tables in what we're doing in here right now. Okay? All right, let me clean this up. And we'll go on to number 16. All right, so number 16 now. So we've got to comment back out 15 and uncomment 16. What does 16 say? A query to show all category descriptions, product names, and prices, but only if the category is bikes or the category is wheels. So we won't have as much output as we had previously. We run this. That's it. So we've got 4 types of bikes and 3 types of wheels. All right. The next one that we're going to run is the inverse of this. So we're asking for it to be not that. So not bikes and not wheels. There is more than one way that you can run these queries too. I'm giving you a way. No way am I saying it's the only way or the best way or anything else. So query 16. It said where description equal wheels or description equal bikes. The other thing we could do, and I did it in the other one so you could see it, in number 17, there's the inequality, and there's different ways you can do inequality. All right, you can put it like that, and I think it'll also take it that you can put an exclamation point followed by an equal sign. And there's other ways that you can write this as well. There, you know, we could go for hours upon hours upon hours in here and just talk about queries. There's a heck of a lot to learn about querying. All right, so there's number 17. And we're going to run this. And what you're going to notice is we're going to have the same output they had the first time, except there won't be any bikes in there, and there's no wheels in there. So the first time we ran it, it had everything. The second time we ran it, it had only bikes and wheels for the category. The third time it had everything but bikes and wheels. All right, so that is number 17. And again, you are getting all of this stuff. All right, let's finish these last two up, 18 and 19 here. So this is 18. And you'll notice, what does it say here? It says, show a query to select all description, product names, retail prices, wholesale prices, and this retail price is really the product price, and vendor name. Sort it by category description, then vendor name, then product price. Why do we bring in this one? I want to show you why. All right, again, this is number 18. So let's bring that one up. Why? Because now we're getting information from four tables. The categories table, the products table, the product vendors table, and the vendors table. So we have to join together 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. There's actually 8 tables in our database, and in the third worksheet, I actually do a couple queries where I join all 8 tables together. But if we take a quick look and a run at this one, it's going to look similar to what we saw before, but it's actually got more information in it. And it was so wide that it was wider than our area here. But when you look, what do we have? Let's take it from the top here. Category, product, retail price, wholesale price, vendor name. Everything's in there. All right. Finally, for the last one in this first worksheet, and again, you have everything. What I mean is you've got this entire worksheet. Everything will be in there. The last one says to do a union query. We're going to combine together the first name and the last name from the customers table with the first name and the last name from the employees table. You can only do that if they hold the same kind of information and if they have a size that's been given. The size must be the same. So let's take a quick look at this one. And yes, I will save that because I had an error in there. Oh boy. Let's see, failed to save document. We'll have to look at that one later. That's fine. All right, so let's bring up number 19, just the last one here, and get rid of 18. Bring this up, uncomment this, or comment that, uncomment this, and finally, there we go. There's number 19. So when we run that one, which is a fairly simple query, select the first name and last name from the customer table, combine that with everything from the first name and last name from the employees table. We had, I believe, 27 or 28 customers and 8 employees. So if we run this query, there they all are. Okay? So that's the first set of examples. Am I going through this quickly? Yes. Am I going through it too quickly? Possibly. All right. But what I want to do is I want to take everything that in here, I'm going to uncomment out everything we've done. Everything we've done. I'm going to uncomment all of this. So there's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So everything now should be uncommented. Just to show you here, I'm going to do a save all, and I'm going to clear my history here. And I'm going to come in here and run this again. There we are. Let's bring that way up here. Okay, so there's nothing here. You can see there's nothing there. And if I go and run this, this will run all 19 queries. Okay, so if you'd rather look at it that way, you can. I tried to show it to you in a way that I thought would make more sense to people taking a look at it, but they're all in there. All right, and we are at, oops, not in there. We are at 37 minutes, so I'm going to go on. I'm going to continue on here. All right, so that was the first set, so to speak. Now, I don't know why it wouldn't save this, but it wouldn't. So this was worksheet number 1. So I'm going to do a file, and I'm going to do a save as. And I've got in here worksheet 1, and I'll just call it 1B. And I'll fix all this later. All right, so we've got that. That was worksheet 1. Now, let's look at worksheet number 2. As you may or may not have guessed, they get progressively harder as we go on. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to totally close all this. And I'm going to bring up worksheet 2. There it is. It has 8 queries, so it should take less time. And I think the last one, number 3, has like 8 or 9 queries. 3 has 7 queries. Okay, so hopefully we can get this done in around half hour or so. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come back in here. Now this is, whoops. I'm going to come back into Visual Studio Code. Let me, there we go. Nope. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up in source files, Python DB, sales orders, version 2, worksheet 2. Okay, so I'm going to open that one up in Visual Studio Code. What you'll notice if we take a quick look here, if I bring that up, is we have another file that looks very similar to what we did previously. There's all 8 queries. They're all in here. They all have comments up the wazoo, and they all have associated query files. But I'm going to do this the same way we did this before. What I mean is, and maybe this isn't the best way of doing it, I don't know, but it's the way I'm chosen to do it. I'm going to do this. Okay. So now I've got to comment all of these out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oops. There we go. All right, so the only one that should run right now is the first query. Show a query that will tell whether or not an employee has a phone number. All right, they all do have phone numbers, but the reason I put the query in is I wanted to show you how you can check for the absence of something. That's the is null. So what's going to print is those employees with no phone number, and then there'll be nothing that prints. But is null is how you can go in and check to see whether or not there's the presence or absence of something. Oh, I think I ran the wrong file. Yes, I did. So those employees with no phone number, that's with a fetch all, and that's without the fetch all. All right. So there are no employees. All the employees that are there have a phone number. Okay. But I wanted to put that in there so you could see how you can check for is null if you need to do that. So that's the first one. Again, we'll comment that out. On comment number 2. Okay. All right, so this is number 2. What are we trying to do here? Show a query that shows the total quantity on hand for each category. All right, so if you say, I don't know what that means, let's run and take a look. Okay, so this is the quantity on hand. We have 343 accessories, 24 bikes, 82 items of clothing, 318 components, etc. And what you're going to notice in these is after a while, it got too hard to try to go and format this stuff. So I just used the fetch all to print it out like this. All right, so that's number 2. Like I said, I know I'm rocking it on, but I'm just want to continue. And when we get done, I'll tell you why I've been kind of hurrying this up a little bit. All right, so next will be number 3. And in number 3, show a query that shows each separate product name, but no repeating, along with a category description. Again, we're sorting by the description, then by the product name, both in ascending order. So if we look at that one, this is query 3 of 8. We use the word distinct, which says we don't want any product names to repeat. Let's run it, make sure that indeed that happened. Now it's a little bit ugly, so you'll have to take a look at it yourselves. All right? All right. Let's go on to the next one here. So the next one, of course, will be number 4. Which says, show a query that shows the customer's first name, last name, order number, quantity ordered, product name, and category description. All right, I don't know why I put that in parens. I don't think we even need that in there. Makes it a little easier to read. So this is number 4. Come on, Jeff. There we go. Number 4. All right. And if we look quickly at query number 4, again, it's got that distinct in there. And we're doing a join. So we're getting information from the product table and the category description table. We can do that because they both have the category ID in there as one of their fields. All right, so File, Save All. Let's run this one. And again, it's very ugly, the output, but I just wanted you to get a better idea of the kinds of queries that you can write, period. All right, let's do the last 4 that are in here. So the next one will be number 5. All right. And as you can see right there for number 5, we want the vendor name, product name, quantity ordered, quantity on hand, but the quantity ordered has to be greater than the quantity on hand. Why would you want to write a query like this? Well, this would show you what's really selling because you don't have enough of it in stock. All right. So again, this is number 5. And again, we've got 4 different tables, so there's 3 join statements. And we can do that because we got the information coming from multiple tables. I like to kind of start lining this stuff up a little bit. Just to me, it makes a little more sense when you do that. It's easier to read. But there's the where condition right there. All right, so again, let's do a File, Save All. Come back to here and let's run this. I know this isn't probably resonating with a lot of people right now because when you look at this output, and I get that. But just, if you would, bear with me, please, and I'll explain to you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, etc. Okay, so next is number 6. All right, so there's 6. And number 6, we want the vendor name, product name, quantity ordered, quantity on hand. All right, but we don't want any repeats in the vendor name. And you saw how large that last query was. Well, the only real big difference in here is in query 6, we have the word distinct, which says show the vendor name only once. So when we run this, you should see a lot less output than you saw previously. And there it is. All right. Two more to go on this particular worksheet, which are 7 and 8. You just comment out 8 here. All right, so 7. Show a query that gives the customer first name, last name, order date, ship date. Again, retail price should just say product price. Wish I wouldn't have done that, but I hopefully I can remember to go back and change that. But all right, and then sort on it by the order number in ascending order. Problem trying to display records, no such column. Well, that's because that shouldn't say customer dot first name, so let's fix that. So that's in number 7. So somewhere in here we've got customer dot first name. Yeah, they should be just customer first name and this should be customer last name. Let's see if that fixes it. All right, still got a problem. There is no retail price. This should just be product price. All right, I thought I ran all these queries. Evidently, I didn't do a very good job. So that should just be product price. This is all, just so you know too, this is all case independent. All right, so there's some mixed case in here and whatever. It's not going to hurt anything. Let's see if this fixed it. I don't know if it will or not. Nope. OD, order, no, look at that. I left the R out of order detail. Good gravy. Let's clear this. Order detail. There it is, order detail. Hopefully that was the last error. Oh, we got product retail in here, and there is no product retail. And that should just say product as well. Okay, now I'm not sure if I missed anything or not. We'll find out in just a second. Well, this says we don't have anything where the quoted price is not equal to the product price. So there aren't any differences. When you get something like that, it doesn't mean the query's bad. It means there's no records that meet the criteria that you've set up. For instance, let's suppose for a second that I'm starting a company and I have 3 employees, Tom, Dick, and Harry, okay? And Tom makes $30,000 a year, Dick makes $40,000 a year, and Harry makes $50,000 a year. And what I do is I write a query that says, show me how many people are making more than $1 million a year. We don't have any. So the query isn't bad. It's not a bad query. It's just that there are no records. There's nothing that matches the criteria we've given it. All right, so this is number 8. It's a biggie. Show a query that shows only the vendor name and product wholesale price, but only for those vendor names that start with an S or end with an S and have a wholesale price between $10 and $20. So we put some more criteria in here. If we look at the query, we've got, we've got some wheres in here. Get rid of that. There we go. This is our criteria right there. All right, so file, save. Let's come back here and let's run it. And this is the last one. Okay. All right. And I think it either had to start with an S or end with an S. So Big Sky Mountain Bikes, Sun Sports Suppliers. Okay, those look like the only ones that are meeting the criteria. And Shinoman Incorporated. Okay, so those are the second set. And again, if I come back in here now, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before, meaning I'm going to uncomment everything. All right, including this, just so I'm going to run all of it at one time. We could do that. Again, the reason that I'm not doing it that way is typically the output, you only get a buffer of a certain size, and sometimes you blow the buffer size when you do this. I don't know if this will or not, but let's run it. So let me move all this up. Let me clear this, and let's run the query. So this is all of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So they're all in there. So that's the second one. Okay. All right. Finally, let me close this. Let me close all of this and this for now. And let's take a look at the last one that's in here. This is worksheet 3. Okay, and there are a total of 7 queries in here. Time-wise, I'm at 55 minutes, so I'm going to run. This will be a longer lecture. But let's take a quick look at it. So I want to bring that one up. Again, this will be worksheet version 3. Open it up with code. And I'm going to do the same thing that I've just been doing. All right, in other words, I'm going to comment out. I'm commenting out numbers 2 through 7. All right, which is going to give me errors here, so I have to comment these out. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so now we'll run just query 1. Show a query that shows how many order dates are incorrect. In other words, where the order date wasn't set. And I don't think there are any, so I think it'll be empty. It says, please be aware it may be 0. And then we have the same thing with order ship dates. So let's run both of these. I think they're both going to come back and just be empty, meaning that they're both legit. They don't have any bad dates. Okay, so we're just running queries 1 and 2. It says we have no invalid order dates, we have no invalid ship dates. Okay, and that's good. All right, but it would be a way to check in case we did. All right, so let's now comment both of these out. And what did we have next in here? 3 and 4 were again basically the same query. So let's run those two together. All right, so there's 3 and 4. So we're going to comment back out query 1, query 2. We're going to uncomment queries 3 and 4. And what do these say? 3 says, show a query that shows us how many customers work in each state that we've got customers in. And the next one says the same thing, but with employees. So if I save this and run it, this says we've got 10 customers in Washington, 7 in California, 6 in Texas, and 4 in Oregon. We have 8 employees, 7 of which are based in Washington and 1 in Texas. Okay. All right. There's only 3 to go here. Again, I'm going to comment this back out again. And this. And we'll do 5, 6, and 7 shortly. So give me a second here. All right, so this will be 5. Let me move that over. All right, so 5 here is fine now. And here, show a query that shows each category description and a count of the number of products in that description. All right, so let's try that one and see what it gives us. All right. It says in the description, we've got 18 accessories, 10 components, 4 bikes, 3 clothing, 3 wheels, and 2 car racks. If we add these up, 18, 28, 32, 35, 38, 40. That says we have a total of 40 products, and that's how many we do have. All right. So let's clear this and go and run the last 2, and we'll be all finished with this. All right, the last two were meant to show you. See, 6 and yeah. I went and grabbed stuff from virtually every table that was in here. All right, so what I'm going to show you here, let's see, so it's 6 and 7 are what we have to run here. So all right, so it's number 6. So when you look, I'm not going to read this to you, but it's grabbing information. We don't need to do this casting either. But if you read while I'm doing this, what you're going to find is we've got stuff coming from several different tables. All right. In addition, what we have on here is the vendor name has to start with an A, and the quoted price has to be greater than $150. These are just arbitrary things I made up. They're nonsensical, basically. All right, so let's run this one. In fact, first, let's look at query 6. And what you'll notice is, again, I'm getting information from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tables. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different joins in here. Okay. Let me close this. Go back to here, save, and let's run it. We get a lot of output from a lot of these, but it's pretty ugly. There it is. Okay. All right. And then with the last one that's in here, again, the idea was to show you that it is possible to join data from multiple tables, and that's what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, again, 6 tables. I don't know why I don't have all 8 of them in there, but I don't. And what you're going to notice then is if we run that last one, which is number 7. Okay, so if I save all and run this, again, we're just going to get a boatload of data. There it is. All right, and finally, the last thing I want to do, because this is what I've been doing every time, is I'm going to uncomment everything in this file. So I'll leave 7. There's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Uncomment this, uncomment this. All right, so everything is uncommented. File, save all. And if I run this, all right, again, there's only so much room, as I said, in the buffer here. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Query 6, which has got a lot of information in it. Query 7, there they all are. So what I hoped to do in there is to introduce you to the act of querying. All right, it was by no means comprehensive, but what I want to do in my next my next set is I want to work on CRUD operations. And again, if you don't remember, that's an acronym, and that's create, read, update, and delete. I want to set this up, and I'm going to do it first non-object oriented, then go back and do it object oriented. And what I want to do is set this up so that either using object orientation or non-object orientation, you're able to go in and create new records in any of those 8 tables, read any of those records in the 8 tables, update any of them, and delete any records that are in there. So that's what's coming up next. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.